Cory Sandhagen versus TJ Dillashaw. Now, what really happened in this fight? Or rather, who really won this fight? As the fight was competitively very close. First of all, TJ looked pretty good in his return. He was a bit sloppier than his prime form, a little bit slower, and his reaction timing wasn't necessarily all there. He didn't have the footwork that he usually goes to. The reason could come from Cory potentially injuring TJ in that first round, but even before that, TJ wasn't utilizing that fluid movement that we're used to seeing. He had a tough time in the second round. Cory was definitely landing the shots. Cory definitely showed to be the better boxer. Whenever they went into a boxing exchange, Cory was usually coming out on top. He had good counter switches into his hooks, and specifically that jab. You could tell the reach was giving TJ a bunch of issues. And Cory Sandhagen, we got to give him a lot of credit for his takedown defense. Amazing takedown defense compared to what we're used to seeing from him. He was always known to have one of the worst takedown defense out of all the fighters in the top 15. But stuffing most of TJ's takedowns was actually very impressive. The way the fight started going together for TJ was when he started to find the leg kicks in the third round. He started to slam and spam, and Cory barely checked any kicks throughout the entire fight. And that's what really caused Cory a bunch of issues. But when we go down to who won this fight, let's give the clear-cut rounds to each fighter. Second round was Cory's, third round was TJ's, fourth round was Cory's. I think that's pretty indisputable. So we're going to look at the first round and the fifth round and see how these should have been scored. As we know about the judging criteria, effective striking and effective grappling trump everything. So pretty much what effective striking and effective grappling are, they're when a fighter puts the opponent in a potential finishing sequence. That means they get knocked down by punches, they get hurt by strikes, or in a deep submission. So damage and submission finishing potential trump everything. Aggression and octagon control are not going to be judged at all. They're going to be completely skipped over, as that's how the criteria is laid out. So let's look at every single strike and every single submission attempt. Cory lands the first leg kick. This was pretty hard. We'll count this as a medium attack. TJ returning with a body kick of his own, another medium, then doubles up with a glancing leg kick. Cory creates some space and darts in with a right hand that stumbles TJ backwards, then follows up later with a light leg kick, backs up a bit, and throws the right hand but lands with his forearm. We'll count this as another light attack. And this is where the flying knee comes in into the inverted triangle choke. He lands the flying knee to the neck, so we'll count this as a medium attack. That definitely creates a lot of damage. And as TJ went in for the takedown, Cory transitioned this right into an inverted triangle, which was definitely deep and arguably the most effective thing to happen in this entire round. TJ was in the inverted triangle for 19 seconds and even went to methods like trying to pull Cory's shorts down to relieve the pressure, which shows you this was definitely deep. But Cory himself is actually the one that let go of the triangle in order to attack the leg. Might have been because TJ was slipping out, but this was definitely the closest either opponent got to being finished. Cory lands 3 hammer fists off of his back, and TJ lands a right hook of his own, but Cory moves with the punch. I'll count all of these as light attacks. TJ lands another right hook, and this one is a little bit more damaging, causing Cory to have to scramble. Then Cory returns with another hammer fist, but lands with his wrist. TJ lands a hammer fist of his own. As Cory stands up, TJ lands a knee to the body, but lands with his thigh instead. 2 knees and a kick to the leg, while Cory lands his own slap, another knee by TJ, and then a slashing elbow disengaging from the clinch. This was another medium attack. As part of it glances as Cory turns his head with the elbow. As TJ starts dipping from a distance, Cory lands a right hand, but TJ moves his head with it, but it does definitely get TJ's attention. Leg kick by Cory, then a shift low feint left overhand that lands clean for TJ Dillashaw. It does kind of land with the back of his fist instead of with the knuckles, but still a big punch. A slight right uppercut as Cory disengages from close range, then follows up with a good disruptive leg kick. Cory then finally returns with a right hand of his own, pawing out there with it though. It catches TJ clean, but there wasn't much power in it. Good leg kick from TJ, returned by Cory, and just going over this sequence as the leg kick lands, because a lot of people do think that TJ stumbled Cory with the punches, but in fact, the punches did not connect that clean. TJ lands a punch to the neck, not much power in it as his balance got disrupted by the leg kick, and then the next right jab completely misses. And it was just that Cory stumbled because he was unbalanced throwing his own leg kick. TJ with a knee, and then Cory with 3 hammer fists. None of these really committed. Then they finally scrambled to the ground, and TJ lands a glancing hammer fist. TJ with another hammer fist, but Cory returns with 2 of his own from his back. But as TJ starts stacking to gain a little bit more leverage, he lands a bigger hammer fist. I'll count this as a medium attack. And that's when Cory goes in for the leg and injures TJ Dillashaw. The fact that he caused damage with this automatically means we have to count it significantly. That is what the move is meant to do. It's meant to injure the opponent. It's meant to attack the knee. TJ admitted that it did hurt him and affect him for the entire fight. That is literally the definition of effective grappling, specifically as it's written out in the judging criteria. So that's another big moment for Cory Sandhagen. But while TJ's trying to get out of this, he just decides to land his own punches. He lands a good straight right and then a glancing hammer fist. 2 light body shots from TJ, returned by 2 from Cory. Then TJ lands 5 ground and pound shots. The first 3 do not land clean at all. They're all glancing. But then the last 2 were definitely medium attacks. And that is the end of the first round. So TJ landed more strikes than Cory Sandhagen and the more damaging strikes overall. But Cory had the closest finishing sequence with that inverted triangle choke, leaving the argument pretty murky. You can make an argument for Cory, you can make an argument for TJ Dillashaw. I'm going to side with TJ winning that first round. So now it's 2-2 going into the 5th. And let's step right into it. TJ throws a leg kick that gets checked. TJ lands a light body kick as Cory moves away from it. And then Cory counters him with his own jab. Another light leg kick by TJ. Then Cory rips a left hook to the body. This was definitely a medium attack here. Cory intercepts TJ with a hard jab. TJ lands a glancing jab, and then Cory returns with a harder jab for then TJ to eventually counter Cory with a left body kick, following it up with a glancing right low kick. Only to plant himself in space due to the glance, Cory's able to take off that same angle and land a left hook around the guard, then a right straight. A good jab by Cory gets TJ's attention. Then an okay leg kick from TJ, only to mix it up into a double shifting Superman punch that slightly glances on Cory. This I'll count as a medium attack. Another slight leg kick by TJ, countered by a glancing right hand from Cory. TJ then follows up with a left elbow followed up by a short right hand. Both don't have much leverage at all. Definitely light attacks. 3 light clinch strikes by Cory, then a touching right hand to a ripping left uppercut to the body from Cory Sandhagen. That gets a big reaction out of TJ, so far the biggest strike of the 5th round. A very light right low kick by TJ, countered by a bigger right straight by Cory as TJ lands with his own jab. Cory yet again finds that same right hand from a distance but lands even more cleanly than the first one. Both of them definitely medium attacks. And then as TJ starts dipping yet again, gets intercepted by a jab. Cory pops 2 jabs in TJ's face, keeping him honest from a distance, switches into southpaw, and lands a naked left straight, angling off to his right, as TJ slightly connects at the very end of his jab. A knee to the chest by Cory, but it doesn't land with the point of contact. Now a looping switch right overhand from TJ, but slightly lands with his wrist, and Cory now counter switches on TJ while moving away and intercepts TJ with a right straight. As the exchange continues, they both trade on each other. Cory lands a glancing jab, and TJ lands a glancing right overhand over the shoulder. TJ goes to the body to set up for his combination, and he only touches Cory to the body, but then ends his combination with a more flush right hook to the jaw, but didn't have much leverage in the punch. But then Sandhagen counters TJ with a very glancing left hook into a flush, powerful right straight that makes TJ stumble backwards. This was the biggest strike of the round so far. Another ripping left uppercut to the body by Cory gets a big heaving reaction out of TJ. As TJ reaches out with his right straight, Cory's able to slip on the outside of it and counter TJ by yet again shifting into 2 jabs as TJ walks into them. Another intercepting jab by Cory Sandhagen as TJ misses his combination. Cory counters with a slight left hook, only to set up for a lunging power jab. This was a medium attack, which eventually forces TJ to mix up the game and shoot him for the takedown. Against the cage, TJ gets 1 knee to the leg and gets another short right hook, disengaging from the clinch, but again, not much leverage, and Cory is moving away from it. Then they both exchange on each other. TJ extends with the right overhand, glances the punch on Cory with the side of his hand, but it was actually Cory that landed the harder jab as TJ walked into it that completely turns his head. A big left hook by Cory as TJ looks for his own leg kick, then Cory follows us up with another right straight through the guard. Both medium attacks. Cory then yet again counter shifts TJ's movement and lands a jab on the inside of TJ's right hook that hits the shoulder. TJ glances with his own jab and Cory lands with a bigger jab off the right angle, snaps TJ's head back. A pawing left hook by Sandhagen, and then TJ lands his biggest strike of the entire round. A huge left straight right through the open guard of Cory, sends him back into the cage. a body shot from the clinch by Cory, then a leg kick by TJ followed up by a right uppercut that lands to the neck. They both exchange on each other. TJ lands with a slap as Cory counters him with his own jab, getting a bigger reaction out of TJ. Cory lands another glancing jab as TJ is looking to dip. Then another ripping left hook to the body, this one even bigger than the others, gets a huge reaction out of TJ, who has to heave forward. This could be considered as the biggest shot of the entire round. TJ slows his movement a bit, and Cory lands his own jab. TJ glances with a right overhand, and then they both glance their right hands off each other. Then 2 leg kicks by TJ, followed up by a counter left jab by Cory, then TJ counters him with a glancing right overhand. This one I'll count as a medium attack. It wasn't as glancing as some of the other shots. It gets an okay reaction out of Cory. Glancing back fist by TJ as Cory's looking to get aggressive. TJ yet again glances with another right overhand over the shoulder. TJ continues his assault, only to get timed and countered by a flush right straight to the jaw that wobbles TJ Dillashaw. If you look at the sequence in real time, after the punch lands, you see TJ's legs start to shake. And that is the end of the 5th round. Tallying it all up, it wasn't even close. The 5th round was completely one-sided to Cory Sandhagen. TJ may have had a slight advantage in the lighter attacks, but Cory quintupled the medium and quadrupled the heavy, and overall landed 13 more total strikes in that round. The 5th round was actually more one-sided than the 1st round was. You can make a better argument that Cory won the 1st round than Dillashaw winning the 5th, meaning that Cory Sandhagen won the 2nd, 4th, and 5th round convincingly. And you can go as far as to say that the fight was a robbery. There is no argument you can make that TJ won the 5th round. The numbers show it, the damage shows it, and the judges got it wrong.